Hey everyone, so I wanted to do a quick 5-minute entries video, and whether you want to use 5 or 15, it's pretty much the same. Again, we're just looking for a flip zone or the cause of the failure, and it's no different on any time frame really. So here we take a 4-hour low, you have inducement, this zone caused it. So as of right now, my expectation is for the bearishness to continue and ultimately this 4-hour low to go if the order flow is to continue in this direction. So if we just look at the market on the 15-minute side of things, here we are, so we haven't really done anything. Our last sort of supply zone or demand zone, I should say, is over here. We haven't really taken it out yet. This zone needs to go for a chalk to complete. So if we just call this a 15-minute demand, and ultimately you can enter these on the 15, or you can refine these onto the 5-minute. The concept is the same. So you do have your reaction point would be right here as we fail to take it out. You have one or two places this happened from. You could say this doji here caused it or the extreme caused it. Both could be valid zones. If this zone here fails, the next place to put an order would likely be up high on the extreme. So if we just put a zone or put an entry on here. Actually, let's just look at the 5-minute quick. So on the 5-minute side of things, let's see. It could still be that. If that fails, we can always go with the extreme, as we know that this can always end up being inducement, which is totally fine. So you likely break even on that. It did go far enough to break even in my books, so that's totally fine. On the second side of things, I would put an order on this extreme. So with the flip zones, it's usually what took out the reaction point. I would say 3 out of 5 times. So 3 out of 5 times this would have likely worked. You know, once you see a bullish candle like this coming back, I would definitely break even on that. And as soon as this first supply goes, I'd be risk off for sure. That supply shouldn't break if that move was to continue. So the first trade would have been a break even. Even if you took a loss, it's not a big deal. But ultimately, you would enter on here on the 5-minute. Now, if you didn't want to enter on the 5-minute and you wanted to enter on the 15, the zone would be a little bit bigger, as you would take the whole doji there. This is 3 pips, which is rather small. If you did want to take the whole fib tool for an entry, you totally can. Whoops, let's go to 5. But the concept doesn't change. Where's the 15 chalk complete? So we took the highs, we took the lows. This was the cause of the reaction point failure. This is the extreme, the secondary zone. So both are valid zones. Usually I like to see this zone work out, but in this case it didn't, which is totally fine. And we can kind of play price forward from here. Again, you'd be break even pretty quick. Like we'd be risk off on this. Let's look at the 15-minute side of things. So you probably take partials, you know. Pay yourself something when these lows go, as it's not guaranteed. Even if you want to run this low wick, that's totally fine. So if you partialed out at, you know, 50% there, 30%, however you want to manage. And ultimately what I'd be doing is I would leave the rest on to run this 4-hour low. As we can look at the aggression of this bearish momentum, even the previous aggression, where the bears are obviously in control, so I'd have no problem leaving something on to run this low. But back to the 15 and 5-minute side of things. Let's see if we can scale in once again. So just kind of play price forward a bit, and usually when the New York volume kicks in, there should be another entry opportunity. So New York's come in, we're coming back to retap a supply maybe. let's see, what did that tap? Is that, I'm just gonna retract this demand zone a bit. So this didn't tap 15. This is likely a half-hour supply we tapped into, maybe even something higher. So this would be a 1 hour supply, not really a time frame I use a lot, but I think if you're trading 5 minute, you'll probably become really good friends with the 1 hour. The 1 hour and the 5 minutes seem to pair together quite well. I don't know why, but it does. Just the same way the 1 minute pairs well with the 15 to 30 minute. 1 hour is going to become your best friend if you're looking for the 5 minute entries. And ultimately, you tapped a higher time frame POI. No different than if we were to tap a 15 minute POI and you were waiting for a 1 minute chalk and flip. So this is the exact same. Once again, you swept the highs, you swept the lows. You haven't completed the sweep yet, but the first wick going's enough for chalk for me. And ultimately, I would put an order on that doji there. And if that doji fails, your next order is here, which is a rather big candle. So hopefully the doji goes. And that's not too bad. And you're going to have to decide if you want to go with the 25% or if you want to go with the, if you want to take the whole fib. You're probably not too worried about an extra pip, and you probably would take the whole fib for an order, which is totally fine. And again, from the management perspective, I would probably say you should take a little bit off the table when you run this high. But the concept remains the same. Nothing really changes. Same as your, let's see, did we actually run that? Let's go to the 4 hour. So we did run that 4 hour low, and that was ultimately our target. You'll likely either see a little bit of a continuation and a pullback or an immediate pullback. But the concept is the same as entering on the 1 minute. You're still looking for a chalk and flip. Rather than tapping a 15, you're likely going to be looking at tapping into a 30 to a 1 hour, maybe even a 2 hour. The 5 minute is going to pair with that a lot better. But again, it's chalk, flip after it taps into a POI. And your POI is the same as before. You actually chalked up here too when you ran these highs, you ran these lows. Tap back in, swept all the liquidity, and you chalked again here. And if you really wanted to, you have a, maybe not, but there'll likely be something in there. No, maybe not. I think these will be kind of your two best entries. But ultimately, I just look for a demand to fail and the supply that caused it. And usually there's the immediate cause and the extreme. So in the case of the first trade, the extreme went for us. In this case, the immediate cause went for us. The flip side of things is the market could have come deeper into this wick and then went. Because if I go on a lower time frame, there's probably something in that wick that could have definitely been something. And ultimately, if you take a loss, I would just wait for another 5 minute flip. If you did get taken out and it did something like this, I would look for the cause of that flip and likely get in and keep going down. But again, the concept remains the same. We haven't changed anything. We're still looking for our POI to get tapped. You want something to liquidate. You want to see a disrespect of demand. And ultimately, that's all there is to it. I will say this, with the 5 minute, your hit rate will probably be higher, but there may be less trades per session, which is totally fine. What did you get here? 22R on this. That's pretty ridiculous. Like, that's a good week if you get that. This one here is almost a 10R. Like, that's pretty good in my books. I think you'd be quite happy. Obviously, you wouldn't get the full Rs because you partial out at each of these lows. But even if you partialed out and, you ended up with, whatever, 14, 15R in total on this, and you ended up with like a 6R on this, these are still good trades. Like, they'd even be good Rs on the 1 minute. So that's all there really is to the 5 minute. It's not much different. A little higher time frame where you're using the 1 hour and a half hour more often than the 15 minute. But yeah, I'll cut this video here and, I will see you guys in the Discord.